Hey, girlfriends. Welcome back to the Hey Girlfriend podcast. I'm your host, Kindall D. And today's topic is going to be what's going to help you to determine if you should keep seeing him. So, I told y'all before that I was going to do a Greenflags. This is my Greenflags podcast, I would say. I didn't want to call it Greenflags, because I don't know, there wasn't enough for what I'm trying to convey here, if you will. So I wanted to teach you how to determine if, when you're seeing this guy, if he is worth your time and if you should keep seeing him based off the things that you can pick up on in the beginning. Now, this is not for if you've been months in a connection with someone, getting to know them. This is not that. This is for when you're in the beginning stages. Like I would say maybe the first month, maybe month and a half, to know if you should keep seeing him, depending on how the dates are spread out. So that's what this is going to be about. If you will, you can comment down below, whether you're on YouTube or Spotify. I don't think Apple has this yet, but comment and let me know what you want to hear me talk about. All right, got that out the way. Okay, let's get into the podcast. So, I made a list of things that I feel help me to determine if I should keep seeing my husband in the beginning when we were dating. So I want to preface this podcast first at the beginning. This is to help you get your mind prepared for what I'm about to say. I guess you could say that. But it's really you won't know if you should keep seeing someone unless you have your mind right and your standards right. So that's something that I want you to take a moment and think about to yourself, like, how are your standards? What are your standards looking like? Because if you don't have any standards, it's going to be hard for you to tell if you keep seeing him, because just because he likes you and shows you a little attention, you're going to think you should keep seeing him, So if you don't have a list of standards and things that you are looking for in a man, in a relationship, and you're just out there taking on any guy that shows you a little interest, shows you a little attention, and if he's cute, then I need you to get some standards. Because your only standard cannot be that man is showing you interest or a little bit of attention. That cannot be your only standard. It's that you just want someone to like you and want you. So if you don't have standards, it's going to be hard for you to tell. I need you to make a list of standards. And this will make this list easier. So, now that I got that out the way, let's get into it. So, first thing I would say, how to tell if you should keep seeing him, is if he comes in very transparent and honest. And what I mean by that is that you don't feel like he's hiding anything. When you ask him questions, he's not, going all around the world and not answering them or giving you like half-ass answers. I feel like when guys are not direct with you and they're not transparent, I feel like when they do not possess that, they're not really for real about you. They're just trying to probably get in and get out or get whatever they can from you, If someone is truly wanting to get to know you, then they are going to lay all of them out in front of you so that you can make a actual decision. And they're not going to try to sway your decision. Because I find that when guys are not willing to take you not wanting them back, and their goal is to basically just hook you, they're not going to be very direct. They're not going to be very transparent. They're going to just say whatever they think it is you want to hear. And that's why I said it is important for you to have your standards. Because if you do not have your standards, then that means you're not going to be able to recognize that. You're going to be like, well, he likes me and he's cute, you know? Because I want to give a little example about a guy I was seeing right before my husband, and how different the two were. So one guy I was seeing, right, I asked him simply, what is your last name? I'm getting to know you. I want to know who you are, you know? And what if I wanted to do a search on you? Why is that so private? Why is that so, why can I know this, you know? And I just asked him simply what it was. No, I asked him what, no, I take that back. I asked him what his middle name was, making conversation. And he, like, just went all around it and dodged it. Like, he didn't want to tell me anything like that. And I'm like, what's the big deal? You know? I just like to know what your middle name is. Because we were having just general conversation. And I had been talking to him for like a month. You know, what's the big deal? And so I kind of looked at that as like a yellow, reddish flag. But I kept saying I didn't think none of it. But looking back now, I see that was a telltale sign that he's not really... When I met my husband, his initials are 2 letters for his name. And he told me his first name. And then, there's the initial. And I said, what does that stand for? And he simply told me straight up. He didn't beat around the bush. He didn't make me guess. He didn't hesitate. He just straight up told me. And I feel like when guys are just straight up with you and honest with you, and you feel that being transparent, or you don't feel like they're trying to hide anything, because your intuition would know. Yeah, he's wanting to get to know you. He's wanting to keep seeing you. I'm not going to say that, he's, automatically choosing you already, because you two are still getting to know each other. That means he's genuinely interested in actually getting to know you further. Next thing, how to know you should keep seeing him is when he respects your boundaries. So for me, I feel like I learned a lot of the things that make me anxious or nervous are the things that I should put forth in trying to get to know a man. Like the things that I may have been scared to do before that made me anxious, then I needed to start doing that, which was setting boundaries, which was being assertive about the boundary and not faltering from that. I had a real big issue with kind of like keeping my boundaries tucked down, because maybe I was afraid of running the man off. I was afraid of being too difficult. I had to stop being afraid to do that and just do it to see if or how it be received from the person I'm dating. And the thing I had to realize is that you can't run a man off. You can't run a man off by how assertive you are, by what boundaries you set, by what standards you have for yourself. You can't run someone off that was meant for you and that is able to respect your boundaries and meet your standards. If he runs off, he wasn't in alignment with you. He wasn't for you. It's simple as that. And so I had to get that through my head and stop being afraid that I'm going to run a guy off. Like run a potential good guy off. Because to be honest, if he runs from that, he was not a potential good guy. It was just someone that liked me for a moment and I wanted to keep that going, and I was scared that I was going to run him off. But you want to run off the bad ones. So that's something I had to get through my head, that if I want to stop getting my heart broken and stop going through toxic ass shit, then I'm going to have to raise my standards. And I'm going to have to make sure that I put forth boundaries. So when you put forth the boundary, no matter how small or big it is, when you just say no to something, or it could be anything. In the beginning, it'll probably be something small. Like, no, I don't feel comfortable with you coming to my house just yet. Or no, I don't feel comfortable meeting there yet. Or meeting there, or wherever you're going. Or no, I don't want to do that. Whatever it is, if you declare something that you don't want to do or don't want, or you need him to stop or doing, or whatever it is, whatever boundary it is, check his response. You may be afraid to set the boundary because of the things I mentioned before, but do it and see how he responds. If that man responds with nothing but respect and he does not lose interest in you, and it doesn't, I guess I would say taper off to where suddenly he's not talking to you as much or calling you as much or something like that, like he's not losing any interest and it's still the same, he still wants to get to know you, that's how you know you keep seeing him. Because boundaries are important, not just in the beginning when dating. Boundaries are important, period. Even once you're in a marriage, I'm going that deep, that far. Boundaries are always important. It's always important that you feel comfortable to speak up for yourself and to say what you want, need, and to say what you're not going to do, and to say what is right for you, not right for you, to set a boundary. You should always feel safe and comfortable to do that with that man that you're dating. If you don't, you already know how that's going to go. Next thing is simple. He does what he says he's going to do. It's simple as that. Like, some of these are just very, very simple. And I think sometimes when either you don't have your standards or you just want a man real bad, you don't realize that some of the things are so simple to look for. If he does what he says he's going to do, then okay, yeah, he wants to keep getting to know you. I feel like when a man does this simple thing, like he tells you something and he actually does it, he follows his word, that is him trying to earn your trust. And not only that, I feel like he is trying to show you that he can be not only trusted, but that he can be a safe space. I put it that way. Like, I feel like they do, a good man will do that because he cares about what you think about him. I feel like men that are genuinely interested in you care about what you think about them. They don't want you to look at them as some nobody or some guy that's just playing around with them, playing around with you. They don't want you to have any bad feelings about them. It's a difference between a man saying, I don't want you to hate me, like actually saying it, and a man actually doing the action so that you are not going to hate him. Okay? And the reason why that is so important, because words mean nothing. Quick story. I was coaching this girl and she was telling me that a guy that she's trying to get over now, he kept on saying, I don't want you to hate me. Because the reason why we got to that, because she was asking me about a situation. He kind of came back then and gave her this long text message about all this and that and the other. And I appreciate you for all you've done. Even though he had hurt her like multiple times. He sent her this long text out the blue when she was trying to leave him alone. And she asked me, why did he do that? I said, because he feels guilty. And he doesn't want you to not like him. He doesn't want you to leave on with a sour taste in your mouth from him. He wants to still look like he's the good guy. And then I explained to her, like, the thing is, though, he should not be doing anything that's going to make you hate him. That should not even come out of his mouth. If that is coming out of his mouth, that means he's going to be putting you through a lot of shit. And he knows it. But he still wants to make sure that you don't hate him because of it. It's bullshit. It's straight up bullshit. So, back to what I was saying. If he is following through with his word, that means he wants to show you that he is genuinely interested in you. And not only show you, that means that he just is. Any man that actually likes you genuinely and wants to continue seeing you is going to make sure that he is a man of his word. As simple as that. And not only that, it's his own integrity. That's something else that's very, very important here. Is that a man that has integrity for himself. It's not even about the woman that he's dating or the woman that he likes or the woman that he wants to be in a relationship with. It's not even about you. It's about him not wanting to be that type of man to where he is a liar, or he's not honest, or he's just conniving. He's not trying to do that because that makes him feel bad about himself. He has enough integrity to know, I'm not going to do that. And so that's a good sign you want to look for. You want to make sure that he is following through on his word. None of this, none of that talking, none of that saying, I'm not going to hurt you, or saying things like, I don't want you to hate me. I don't want you, none of that. Anything that he actually verbally says, he should be showing you. And he shows you through his actions, which his actions are he is following through with his word. Next thing, he should not be, I guess I would say, if he is genuinely complimenting you, that's how I want to word it. If he is, when I mean genuinely, I mean he is not sweet talking you. And sweet talk, ladies, if you don't know, is when he is telling you, oh, you're so fine, I want you so bad, and you are better than all these other girls. That's nagging, by the way. I've never met anyone like you before. I'm liking you a lot already, and you the one, and that is sweet talk. And all that is covering up his true intentions. Okay? Because words mean nothing. Nothing without the action behind it. So instead of you looking for that, look for how he is showing you those things. Because a man is not going to tell you, a man that you should keep seeing, that has good intentions, is not going to straight up tell you, I want you. Not in the beginning. He is going to actually show you. And he's going to make that known so that you feel it and you know it. Because when a man tells you that, that means he's trying to prepare you for some shit he's about to do that's not going to match his actions. Meaning he's probably going to become suddenly inconsistent. He may have some other women that he's into or cheating on you with. So that you always know in your head, well, you said, but his actions aren't lining up. So he's telling you this so that you won't look at him sideways when his actions don't line up. You'll continue to see him because you think, well, he did say this. No. Don't fall for that, lady. Something else I like to add to the compliments thing and a man genuinely complimenting you. When I mean genuine compliments, I mean things that are based on who you are beneath the surface. Things like, oh, I love that you love to read. Oh, I love that you love your job. Oh, you're so intelligent. That's very smart of you. Or something like that. It's not the sweet talk. The sweet talk is usually full of lies. It's usually love bombing. Because I'm going to tell you why compliments like that, like the sweet talk, started turning me off. And this can help you to store this in your brain so that you can also be turned off by excessive compliments. It's okay for a man to say, oh, you look nice today. You look nice this evening. That's okay. But I mean the excessive kind. So for me, I feel like that man is only seeing me at the surface. And I used to feel anxious and uncomfortable with that. And I never really knew why. I used to like it. And maybe I mistaked the butterflies I felt from it. Well, I thought the butterflies were real because I really liked him. But now I'm realizing that it was also a little bit of anxiousness mixed in there. And it's because I felt like that he's only seeing me at the surface. Meaning that once he truly gets to know me, there is a chance that he won't like the real me because he's not even interested in the beginning. So I'm not the type to try to keep up some kind of facade or I don't. I put it that way. I feel like that when men come in with all those excessive compliments in the beginning and just telling you all these sweet nothings and all this love bombing shit, I feel like when they come in doing all of that, they're not really interested in you deeply anyway. They just like what they maybe see on the surface, and they like what they think they can get from you. And for me, that just started turning me off, making me feel unsafe. Because I'm like, there's a lot more to me than what you see at the surface. And if I'm going to be in a long-term relationship with someone and have someone thoroughly and deeply love me and want me through and through unconditionally, then I am not going to go for the guy that's doing all that in the beginning, because I don't feel like he sees me or that he wants to truly see me, So that it's just not genuine. It's just not real. So if he holds back on that and he is actually genuine, then with his compliments, and he gives you some of the compliments, like from the examples I told you, then yeah, you can keep seeing him. He may be decent. Another thing, this is like a duh, but if he's consistent, then yes. And that kind of goes hand in hand with what I said about he does what he says he's going to do, kind of. But consistent means that he's not hot and cold. If you ever get to a point to where you feel like you have to wonder if that man is into you, if he really likes you, or if he's going to call you, if you're going to go on a date, if you find yourself any moment wondering about his actions, he has become inconsistent. That is a telltale sign. And I can say that when I was dating my husband, I never wondered about his interest in me. Ever. I never ever wondered, because he was consistent all the time. He never changed his interest, no matter what. Never. We talked every day, not all day and not for long times. Text every day. If we were going on a date, he set it up. Yeah. So like I said, some of these are just really simple, but yeah, I need you to have your standards so you can know for sure. Another good sign that you should keep seeing him is if he is willing to talk it out when any type of disagreement or something you're concerned about comes up. And even in the beginning, small things can come up, and you should never feel uncomfortable with asking him something. I don't know about you, I used to feel that way. But what I'm getting at is that if that man doesn't want to talk about what your concern is, and he dodges it, or he gaslights you, or he minimizes it, or he kind of like waves it off like he doesn't want to talk about it, that is a behavior, a pattern, or something that he is not willing to change, and it's going to always remain that way. And that's something that you want to pay attention to. If you speak up about anything and you feel like you're not having a direct, real, mature conversation back and forth with each other, yeah, just know that not only is he not emotionally intelligent and is probably going to argue with you throughout your relationship if you do decide to have a relationship with him. Not only that, I mean, it's also showing that he's just not willing to change that aspect about him. And so if you bring something up to his attention and he's like, doesn't actually have a real conversation with you, he has to want to talk it out. And in the beginning, I guess I give an example. In the beginning, some small things that may come up are, I guess I give a little example, a personal example. Like for me, I remember when I was seeing my husband in the beginning, everything was going great, but I felt like I wanted to see him a bit more. And what I mean was that he was consistent with setting dates, and I was seeing him on the weekends and all that. But I feel like sometimes I wanted to see him through the week. Like, can we go through something, hang out, instead of just one day out of the week? And I remember expressing it to him. And he didn't argue with me. He took note of it. And like, I think it was that same night, he surprised me and knocked on my door with his spend the night bag. And he came and said, It was the middle of the week, and he's like, I'm spending the night. And that made me the happiest, just so happy to have. I can just remember it like it was yesterday. I had my own place, and I didn't know he was gonna do that, and that just, I don't know why I'm about to tear up from that, but that just really showed me, like, okay, this is someone that if anything comes up, he is a fixer. He's going to want to work through this. He's not going to run from it. He's not going to abandon me. He's not going to go out there and do God knows what. Because I found that in my toxic relationships, that whenever I started catching on to what my exes were doing, or I started pointing things out and started questioning them, it's not only did they start to like me less and start to want to be with me less, they would also go out and cheat, and they will also go out and just get other women, even while they were still talking to me. And so that just made me feel unsafe. Whenever a man cannot sit down and have a real conversation with you about something that's bothering you, that just made me feel unsafe. And I learned from that. And so the fact that I told my husband that that's something that I was wanting, and he just did it. It was no argument. And that's the thing. It never should be an argument when you bring up something to that man's attention. That's a really, really good sign that you should definitely keep seeing him. If you've ever questioned, like I know sometimes in relationships, when they're in the beginning stages, there's going to be a lot of, occurrences, I would say, that come up that make you question, is this someone I want to keep seeing? Because you may have a disagreement or a slight argument, or something just may not sit well with you. But the way that you know that it is okay to keep trying with them is by the way that he is when you approach him with it. How he see in the conversation. And not only that, ladies, I gotta make sure I get you in line. We get ourselves in line. It's also about your delivery. Something that I learned is that it's very important to use I feel statements. Instead of coming in or accusing him or demanding or going in even too emotional, I say. Going in that way, it's going to cause that man to shut down. It's going to cause him to not hear you. It's going to cause him to get defensive, because who wouldn't if you're accusing someone of something that they're not really even trying to do, or may have not even known they're done. We're talking about in someone that you should keep seeing. I'm not talking about toxic relationships. Someone that you should keep seeing. So with that being said, when you are able to have those type of conversations, and they actually sit with you and sit in it and talk with you, that is a good sign. I promise you it's a good sign. Don't look at, we're arguing, but it's a good sign. And when you deliver it right, that's what makes it even better. Because with me using the I feel statements, I noticed it worked a lot better. Because even in that example I just gave about wanting to see him more, I didn't go in saying, I feel like you don't want to see me. I feel like you don't really like me. You can't go in. That's more than likely your past trauma, your fears coming up. Instead of going in that way, because you don't. That's accusing. That's going to make him defensive. I said, I feel like that I only see you like one day out the week, and I think I said I even miss you. Yeah. Your girl got a little vulnerable. I said something along the lines of that. Like, I would like to see you more. I just feel like that, through the week, I can't remember what I said exactly, y'all. But I remember saying it in that tone. And when telling him that, I feel like he received it. And he was like, okay, he didn't say just okay. I don't remember the words verbatim, but he took it well. I put it that way. and then showed up on my doorstep. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, it also helps if you know how to properly communicate your feelings as well. It never works. To me, it never works when you go in very volatile. Mm-mm. And maybe it works for them toxic relationships and them toxic men, maybe. But for someone that you're trying to have a healthy connection with, go in that way. It makes a world of difference. So, yeah. Next thing. He remembers what you tell him. And that means, like, say if you tell him some small things about you, that like what you like or where you like to go or places you've never been but wanted to try. He remembers it and he makes sure to show up with that or to give you that thing. And because he's actually listening to you and he is wanting to get closer to you and get to know you because he genuinely is interested in you. So I find that when a man remembers like the simple things about you and things that you probably didn't even realize when you were saying it, but he somehow remembers, yes, that is a good sign that you keep seeing him. That is also another good sign that he's not playing games with you. That's another good sign that he is not in trying to hurt you, that he means has good intentions, because he's actually listening to you. He's actually remembering. He's actually recalling what you said and treating you to it or giving it to you or whatever it is. So that's another good one that I almost forgot. But pay attention to those little small things. If you say something about something and he recalls it, that man is serious about you. But I think that's all on my list, to be honest. Because, to be honest, I mean, there's not much else that you should know about keep seeing him. Of course, if you like him. But it's more than that. You can keep seeing him if he actually meets your standards. So you have to get some standards. You have to know what you want. And you have to not be afraid to walk away when you realize that it's not going to be what you want, that he doesn't meet your standards. I need you to not be afraid of that. There's always another man coming. There's always someone else. And even if it's not, worst case scenario, say if it's not, then would you rather be with someone that mistreats you and ends up breaking your heart, or just be by yourself, tending to you, enjoying your life, and having peace? So you have to get that out your head, that you just have to have a man, because you don't. And if you're going to have a man, at least have one that is going to add to you, because anything else, it's not worth it. It's not at all. But that's all I got for this podcast episode. Yeah. So, as always, you can check the link down below, I'veBeenThatGirl.net, and see my books, my coaching, all the good stuff. But yeah. So until the next podcast episode, girlfriends, peace out.